Hey everyone, JTISREBORN back again here to do another review with quality this time instead of my half-ass shit. So anyways, with the release of the movie Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice, I felt it appropriate to talk about the first film in what is being dubbed the DC Extended Universe, Man of Steel. So here we go. So, what do I think of it? Man of Steel, that is. Well, in all honesty, I really enjoyed Man of Steel. It has some problems with it, which I will get into, but overall, I found the movie to be highly entertaining. Now, for those of you who don't want to be spoiled, I suggest that you go out and watch this movie before watching the rest of this review. And for those of you who have seen it, well, get ready, because it is now time to dive into Man of Steel. The first thing I want to comment on is not so much the movie itself, but more people's reaction to this movie. I have never seen such heated debates over a comic book film as I have for Man of Steel. There are those who think it's the greatest comic book movie of all time, and there are those who absolutely despise this film. Now, I can understand if people don't like this movie. After all, film is subjective, so it really all comes down to personal preference. But I will never truly understand the hatred that some people have for Man of Steel. Like this overwhelming hatred, this passion to just take this movie and just, throw it to the ground and stomp on it. I mean, really? Does the movie merit that type of response? Even more so than this? Superman Returns? Really? Man of Steel is that worse than Superman Returns? Honestly, when's the last time you sat down and watched Superman Returns? Aside from Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor, the movie really has nothing going for it. It's the same Lex Luthor land scheme as in, like, Superman 1, and the acting is just so damn bland, and it's just incredibly boring, and it's just a tough movie to sit through. It's just something that I will never get. But anyways, back to Man of Steel. The movie begins with the birth of Superman at the time of Krypton's destruction. Now, I gotta say, this was great to see because outside of the first Superman movie, we never really got that much of planet Krypton before. I love the look of Krypton in this film, and I also really like the casting of Russell Crowe as Jor-El. Before Man of Steel had come out, I had begun to forget that Crowe was actually a really good actor, mostly due to the fact that some of his more recent performances weren't up to par with some of his earlier works. Robin Hood, he wasn't very good in, and let's not forget that singing in Les Miserables was especially bad. I mean, I still have nightmares to this day about that singing voice. So for me, it was nice to see Russell Crowe turn out a pretty solid performance for once, a welcome return to form, if you will. So, Jor-El warns the Council of Krypton about the planet's imminent destruction and asks for control of something called the Codex that holds the genetics of the entire Kryptonian race in order to ensure that the species survives. However, the movie's villain, General Zod, shows up and straight up just murders the entire council so that he can take control of the Codex. Now, as much as I enjoyed Terrence Stamp's portrayal of General Zod in the original Christopher Reeve Superman movies, I think I like Michael Shannon's Zod just a little bit more. He has some more depth to him, and his motivations are a little stronger than that of Terrence Stamp's Zod's personal vendetta against Jor-El in Superman 1 and 2. Even though I think Zod is a pretty good villain, he isn't the best villain in the movie. I actually thought Faora was better. Even though she might not have been the most developed character in the movie, it's the performance of the actress and her on-screen presence that makes her great. The actress who portrays Faora does such a really good job here in this movie. I really hope we get to see her come back in some form or another. Her fate is left unknown, so the possibility of her coming back is quite strong. Anyways, so Jor-El eventually gets killed by Zod as Superman, or Kal-El as he is known, is sent off to Earth while Zod gets sent to the Phantom Zone, as Krypton becomes unstable and is eventually destroyed. Now, it's after this point in the film where the movie starts to lose some momentum. Basically, from this point of the film is hit or miss for me, at least until Zod shows back up again. I liked some aspects of it, such as the difficulty of Superman adapting to Earth and having all of his powers. I thought that was pretty clever. Superman would have difficulty adapting to Earth. And I also like the part where Superman first learns to fly. I thought that with that scene and that triumphant Hans Zimmer score, it was truly a great scene to watch. However, there are certain aspects of this movie that I do not like, and we're about to get into those. For one thing, after Clark saves the kids from the bus, revealing he has super strength to some of his classmates, Jonathan Kent, played by Kevin Costner, has a talk with him about keeping this side of himself a secret. Now, this will be fine if not for the part where Clark says, "What was I supposed to do? Let them drown?" And Jonathan Kent replies, "Maybe." Is he actually questioning the fact of letting Clark's classmates die, like, right in front of him? The whole movie, Jonathan Kent's telling Clark about how great he's supposed to be and how he's meant for greater things. He's going to change the future of the human race. All these big, huge pep talks. And he's just like, should I let him die? Maybe. Why not just have him say, instead of, maybe you should let them die, Clark? Or instead he could be like, you know, Clark, next time, just stay hidden. I know you wanted to save the people, and you have to save those people. You shouldn't let people die like that in front of you when you have the power to change things. Go hide. You know, something like that would have been fine instead of maybe. It just makes Jonathan Kent come across as extremely unlikable. It's just not a good decision. With a quick tweak to the script like that, then the scene would have been fine. Jonathan Kent wouldn't have come across as unlikable as he did in the scene. That was just a terrible choice in my opinion. But the part of this movie that I absolutely can't stand the most is that tornado scene. For one thing, it comes right the fuck out of nowhere. It looks pretty stupid, and it just is so incredibly forced. Jonathan Kent's here is like in this big, speech, speech number 5 or 6. I've lost count at this point. And then boom, tornado. Like, what the fuck? Now, when Jonathan Kent died in the original Superman, it was more effective because he died of a heart attack. It goes to show to Clark that despite all of his power, he can't save everyone from death. And here, Jonathan Kent doesn't have to die. I repeat, he doesn't have to die. Clark can save him without being seen. There are so many ways that this death can be avoided. Why couldn't Clark have been the one to go back and save the dog, or just sneak off to the side and, etc.? Plenty of things you can do. The point being, and the bottom line, is that it was avoidable, and it could have been done a lot better. Like I said earlier, this is the stretch of the movie that I mostly have issues with. Thankfully, though, General Zod shows back up, and this is where the movie really starts to pick back up again. Clark goes and turns himself into Zod, who is off searching for the Codex. Zod is unable to attain the Codex and launches an invasion on Earth. Then, basically, the rest of the movie is just this insane action scene after action scene and after action scene, and then just, holy shit, the inner man-child in me can't help but get amped up when I see all this fighting and chaos going off at once. I gotta say though, this movie has the greatest action scenes in any superhero film I have ever seen. Watching Superman throw down with these Kryptonians was amazing. I had never seen anything like it before in a superhero movie. The ending battle between General Zod and Superman is probably the closest thing I will ever see to a live-action Dragon Ball Z fight done right. Not Dragon Ball Evolution, I mean like done right and amazing. And as amazing as these action sequences are in this movie, I mean they are incredible. Still to this day, I think this movie has the best action sequences in any superhero movie. That fight between Superman and Zod is incredible. However, this is where a lot of people had issues with. And that has to do with the fact that there's a lot of property damage that Superman and Zod cause in this movie. A lot of people hated this scene and complained about it. Complaints range from how Superman doesn't lead the fight away from the city, to Superman doesn't save anybody, to the crazy amount of property damage. People complain so much about the destruction in this movie that it's actually become a major plot point in Batman vs. Superman. I've never in my life heard so many complaints about property damage in a superhero movie, or even complain about it at all until the release of Man of Steel. How come nobody seemed to complain about property damage in other superhero movies until the release of Man of Steel? Does anybody remember in The Incredible Hulk when Hulk and Abomination had that brawl in the middle of the longest street in the world in New York City? A lot of property damage there. Or how about in The Avengers? Remember when Captain America jumped out that window? How come nobody complained about that? That window cost money, damn it! What about in The Dark Knight Rises when Batman practically blows up a building as he is flying out of the city? No? Anyone? Didn't think so. My point being is that if you're going to complain about destruction in a superhero movie, then you should at least acknowledge it in others. So anyways, Zod and Superman have their big battle, and we get another controversial moment where Superman snaps Zod's neck in order to save the lives of the people because Zod wasn't going to stop. Now, I know this scene caused a lot of controversy among Superman fans, but in all honesty, I never really saw it as that big of a deal. I've seen Superman kill before, and in fact, he kills Zod in Superman 2, and nobody lost their shit over that. I personally think this scene is quite powerful because by making this choice to kill Zod, he is in essence eliminating the last of his race of people, and forever has to live with the ramifications of his actions. Also, it's not like he's happy over his decision to kill General Zod. He's noticeably upset over the decision that he makes. Clark, he doesn't want to kill people, But in this instance, he seemingly has no other choice because Zod wasn't going to stop. Clark's like, don't do this! Stop, Zod! Don't do it! You can't the people! And Zod's like, never! So Superman, he had to kill him. What else was he going to do? He couldn't throw him back into the Phantom Zone. He's just going to punch him in the air and keep fighting and cause more property damage? No, he had to put an end to Zod, and this was the only way he knew how to do it. So yeah, overall, I like the scene. However, it's pretty much glossed over in the next scene when Superman destroys a satellite and they start making jokes about how hot he is. Really? You're just going to forget about your big emotional moment of the movie? You're not even going to dwell on it or at least acknowledge it before going out and being all happy-go-lucky? Hey, I'm Superman Clark Kent working at the Daily Planet. Nothing? The fuck? By going out and cracking jokes and not acknowledging what happened immediately following that big emotional scene without any sort of transition, just about kills everything that they were trying to accomplish in having Superman killing General Zod. Oh sure, it's nice and all to see Clark go out and be all happy that he's working at the Daily Planet, but the timing of it doesn't work so well. If they would have at least acknowledged Clark's decision, or dwelled on it some more before they went out all happy and joking, then it probably would have been fine and you wouldn't hear me or millions of other people complaining about it so much. I'm just upset because while I still really enjoy Man of Steel, it had the potential to be great. And it didn't quite live up to that hype that the trailers had set up when this movie was first announced. I mean, we had Christopher Nolan attached, coming just off the Dark Knight trilogy, and it's kind of disappointing in a way because it didn't quite live up to being great. It was good, just not great. I liked a lot in this movie. I really did. The music is great, the visuals are spectacular, Cavill and Shannon's performances are both pretty good as Superman and General Zod respectively. Cavill's Superman, it's not the same as Christopher Reeves, but it's something different, and I thoroughly enjoyed his performance. I also really like how it addresses some of the difficulties that Superman faces while trying to find his place in our world. Some of the things that I don't like are that it has some pacing issues. I also never really cared too much for Amy Adams' portrayal of Lois Lane in this movie. I actually thought she was kind of dull. Then again, there are some other things that I mentioned earlier that I don't like. Outside of that, though, I still really enjoyed Man of Steel. It's the first good solo Superman movie since Superman 2, and is, in my opinion, a major improvement over Superman Returns. So, I say go ahead and check this movie out if you have not already. Well, that's going to wrap this review up for today. I thank you all for watching, and for those of you who want to know my thoughts on Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, I'll review that movie when it comes out on Blu-ray, because I want the time to really take a look at the movie and dive into it. Plus, I really want to see that R-rated extended version, which is supposed to add, like 30 to 40 minutes of more scenes, and hopefully it'll make the movie better than what it was, but I'm not spoiling my thoughts on the movie. So, thank you all for watching. Be sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and in the comments below, or to the side, or wherever YouTube decides to have these comments, be sure to let me know what you thought of Man of Steel so we can discuss it with each other. Once again, thank you all for watching, and have a great day, and go Superman. Do 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 do.